So good morning and welcome to day 2 of our Happiness Habits Challenge in Midlife. And yes, how did you get on with the first happiness habit of taking action on one thing that's not that easy for you or something that you're procrastinating on? Yes, it wasn't an easy one to start with, but it's I call it the magic of momentum. And it really does make an impact on your happiness. So how did you get on? If you did, celebrate yourself and take another small step today. If you didn't do anything yesterday because you thought Julia's smoking her socks, two things were going on then. The first is you either chose a step that was too big. So I would suggest that you take that step and make it even smaller. Give you an example of that is if you decide, oh, I want to go to gym today and you just didn't get there and you've been meaning to go to gym for ages and it's not happening, then I suggest you put your gym clothes out today and you put your shoes on. That's your first step. And then tomorrow you take a step that builds on top of that step. The other thing that's going on is that you're letting your brain look at the big project and getting overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on the one thing that you can do today, the very first thing that comes to mind to do. So another example is your tax return. You think of the big piece of work that a tax return is, and the brain goes into overwhelm and you don't do anything. So one small step could be you make a folder on your computer and you download all your bank statements into it. And that's your one thing for the day. So see if you can get on with your magic of momentum, take action step. Now, our happiness habit number 2 is an assessment tool. It's one of my favorite tools called the Happiness Ladder. And if you've been following me for a while, or if you've listened to my podcast, you'll know I use the Happiness Ladder a lot. I use it with my clients and I use it with myself every day. So if you do want to find out more about it other than today's session, I've got 2 podcasts. The first one actually is the very first podcast, 1.1. And then there's another one, 1.47, I think it is, which is happiness measurement, how and why. So those 2. And I also have a free tool on my website, Happiness-Matters.coach, called the Happiness Ladder. So I'm fully into the Happiness Ladder. And it's not just me that's come up with this cute little assessment tool. It's actually built on something called Cantrell's scale, which has been used in many places actually. But the United Nations uses it to create the World Happiness Report together with Gallup. So it's a powerful tool that's used in the measurement of happiness and the gross national happiness. My dogs come to join us. Say hi. Join us for our happiness habits. So with the tool, the way that it works is it's a ladder with 10 rungs on it, from 1 to 10. And just ask yourself the question, how happy am I right now? How happy am I? And rate yourself on that scale of 1 to 10. So am I 3? Am I 8? Am I 1? 0? Write that down in your tracker and do it again tomorrow and the next day. And the trick in all of this, and this is really one of the first steps in building our happiness and creating our profound happiness in midlife, is knowing where we are right now and increasing our awareness of where we are and why we are here. And the thing about the happiness ladder is, so it first of all starts with increasing your awareness, but then you start to develop this thing about, so why am I rating myself at a 3? What does happiness look like for me? And you start to create your own definition of happiness. So you go from a hedonic view of happiness, like it's chocolate cake and it's not getting up for work, to a whole being definition of happiness, which is much bigger and much greater. And everything fits in a whole being version of happiness, even unhappiness. Because we're not here to just be happy, happy. We're here to be deeply, deeply happy and at peace and content in our lives. So I want to give you an example from my own life of how the happiness ladder can work and what I mean about these different levels. So on Monday, it was the anniversary or the 6th-year anniversary of my dad dying. So I woke up in the morning and I think I probably was at about at 2. I was feeling quite sad, just missing him. And then at about 10 o'clock, I went off to go and see my mum. And my mum is in a frail care. She's 89 and she's fading. And it's really quite sad. And I could get myself all the way to a -10 if I really go down that route of it shouldn't be like this and it's awful. But what happens is, so when I was driving home, I was having a little cry, as I often do. And I just thought, well, how happy am I really right now? And you know what? I was at 9 out of 10. That's how happy I actually was. Because my heart was filled with such love and such gratitude. I loved my dad, I loved my mum, and I'm so grateful to have them as parents. And the small joy of my mum, no matter, she was very non-responsive on Monday, but she still knew my voice and she still smiled. And it was just so joyful, her beautiful blue eyes. And so this is this fascinating thing about when we question our happiness. So yeah, get started with happiness tip number 2, mark it in your tracker. How happy are you right now? And do it again tomorrow. I'll see you then. Okay, take care of your souls. Bye.